I'm back.
What's up, Tampa Bay? I hope everyone is safe, serene, and still chasing dreams. I'm Chuck Turshen, the most hype man you will meet on the street, here to get you in the know about tonight's show. It's all about art and entertainment today when Michael sits down with fine artist Dean Mitchell. Then, Straz Center gives us an update on when theater doors will open again. And Film Tampa Bay shares how the film industry can keep cameras rolling during COVID. And finally, Sam the Movie Man tells us about The Secret with Katie Holmes. And now, for your host, the always amazing Michael Clayton!
Welcome back to another episode of Michael Clayton Live. Look, when sports first came back, I went on record saying that I wasn't too concerned with baseball dealing with COVID because of how the game was played. And boy, was I wrong. Baseball has proven one thing since its return. If you don't create the bubble, you're in trouble. The St. Louis Cardinals had 13 cases while the Marlins had a whopping 21 cases. 19 of those cases were the actual players. Now, there were rumors that some of the players from the Marlins were out on the town during the team's summer camp exhibition games in Atlanta, and CEO Derek Jeter quickly defended his guy, saying that that just wasn't the case. But what he said, if it's true, could open a bigger can of COVID worms for the NFL players who are currently not under the bubble protection guidelines. Let's listen closely to what Jeter had to say.
Our guys were not running all around town after our game in Atlanta. So I need to ask that stop. They don't deserve that. We did have a couple individuals leave the hotel. In our review, it was determined we had guys leave to get coffee, to get clothes. There's no hanging out at bars, no clubs, no running around Atlanta.
Don't blame it on the coffee, Jeter. I mean, Jeter must have young babies, because if he had older kids like mine, he would know those players were lying. Hey man, where you at? I'm out for coffee. Well, bring me back a grande mocha latte, no COVID, a hand sanitizer, and a pack of Clorox wipes. I got you, homie. He believed me. Listen, I hope the NFL is listening. In the case that they're not, I'm going to be ready if there's a COVID breakout. MC is going to have to become a scab again, make a comeback. I still got gas in the tank. Oh, a little gas in my stomach, too. Who did that?
I don't really like to smile anymore because the dentures are not right. They're not Dinah, because I want my identity back. So that's one of the main reasons why that I came to Trinity Dental Arts. And when I looked, I said, you got it right on target. Oh, Dinah, you look like Dinah again. It's the people. You could take the same office and put other people in it, and it's not going to be Trinity Dental Arts. There's a difference here.
I earn your trust, I earn your business.
Call Ierna's Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. Ierna's and Bryant are doing whatever it takes to keep you and your wallet comfortable. CAC 1813676.
IEarnaAir.com.
My first guest today is an award-winning artist who is known for his figurative works, landscapes, and still lifes. His artwork has been featured in numerous publications as well as corporate and museums collections across the country. Please welcome artist Dean Mitchell. Dean, thank you so much for joining us today. Your collection of artwork is quite impressive, and I see from viewing your website that watercolor is a medium that you feel comfortable with and use quite often. When did you get this passion for art?
I got it when I was a young kid. It actually started with a paint-by-number set my grandmother purchased for me because I was a pretty hyperactive kid, so that kept me occupied.
Now, as an artist, do you experience like with different types of mediums until you kind of find that medium that you feel comfortable with?
I think an artist, for growth, you try different things. I like different mediums because they can do different things depending on the technique and what you're trying to do with it. So yeah.
You really focus on the majority of your subject matter on the African American culture. From your opinion, why is it important for you to promote Black identity?
Well, you have to understand, I was born in 1957, so I'm 63. And so my mother, who was the first of my grandmother's 4 children to get an education, said a Black man could not make a living painting pictures. But one of the things that I understood once I got an education with it in college was that images are powerful. They can shape our sensibility of the world. It's a way we pass down history. When we want to learn about a civilization, we go to their culture, we go to their arts. And knowing the history of slavery here and how our images has been stereotyped and dismantled in such an inhumane way, I figured this was definitely going to be my calling, that I wanted to celebrate us as full human beings.
Yes. Your grandmother said that a Black man can't make a living selling art. You've defied that stereotype, but there is no mistaking about it that being a Black artist is an anomaly. What are some of those struggles that you've had to face head on, dealing with being a Black man in art? I know that it's had an impact on your life, yet you've continued to press on. What did that actually look like throughout your career?
I think race was always part of the conversation. Like I said, I was born in '57, so I was very much familiar with race in terms of working in tobacco as a kid and growing up poor without a father and all these different complexities. But one of the things that I realized is that once I got in college and I had history classes, the Harlem Renaissance was totally not even mentioned. The museums I attended, there was no images of us at all. There was no paintings even on the wall, but yet you had these guards and these people around. So you realize that these were things that people treasured. And so I realized that as a person of color, we have helped build this country and we deserve to have a place on those walls.
Absolutely. There's a documentary about your artwork. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that happened it's very, very interesting. I got a call from two gentlemen from New York that saw my work in New Orleans. And New Orleans at that time was the hub of my work, and I was selling internationally there. And a gentleman called me up and said, we would like to do a documentary on you. We're from New York. And I said, a documentary? I said, are you aware that I'm Black? And he said, oh yes, I've just bought a painting of yours for $40,000. He let me know how much you paid for it. And I said, okay. I said, let me ask you this. How many documentaries have you seen on a Black American painter on PBS? So this long pause. I said, I watch PBS. I have yet to see one. I said, and I am 40 years old, and you're talking about doing a documentary on a Black artist in his prime. I said, good luck. He said, no, you're very talented. They came to Kansas City. And I said, well, who's going to support this? And they said, well, foundation. So at that time, I got a bunch of foundations involved, and we went around. Everybody said no. So I helped them raise over $200,000 grassroots.
Wow. Wow. Very impressive. Also, what's impressive, I read that you had a book with Maya Angelou.
Yeah, that happened because I self-published my first book myself when I was 40 years old, because most publishers said they couldn't sell a book by a Black artist. That would not sell. It crossed Sid Schiff's desk, who owned the limited edition book club. He knew Maya, and Maya ended up writing a poem, and it was about jazz. And so, but I had known Maya for a number of years because of some other things that had happened prior to that. So,
as we wrap, what would you say to a young African-American artist who wants to press and be great in this craft, knowing that there will be struggles? What's your advice to that young individual?
My advice is to stay focused, because there's a lot of noise, and race is a part of that equation. Understand that you are a child of God, you are a full human being, and let no one define you. That goes for the Black community and the white community. Be a full human being, and if you have a dream, pursue it. Pursue it and work hard.
Dean, thank you for pursuing your dreams and being an example out there for many. Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you.
After the break, we're still talking arts when we're joined by a board member of the Strass Center. Don't go away.
Honey, look at our neighbors. They're out in their backyard again, barbecuing with friends, and their kids are playing outside.
They use Aero Environmental Services. I would love to go out in our yard more, but every time we do, we get eaten alive by mosquitoes and the kids get bit by fire ants.
Maybe we should call Aero Environmental Services too.
If you want to take back your yard from unwanted pests, contact the folks at Aero Environmental Services Pest Control. With same-day service in most areas, you can start enjoying a pest-free lifestyle tomorrow.
This year, the Alzheimer's Association Walk to End Alzheimer's is everywhere. On every sidewalk, track, and trail across this country. All of us are raising funds for one goal: a world without Alzheimer's and all other dementia. Because this disease isn't waiting, neither are you. Take the first step on your walk right now. Go to alz.org/walk.
One part of art and entertainment that has especially been affected by COVID are the live performance industries such as concerts and live theater. Even Broadway will be shut down until 2021. Joining me today to talk about our world-class performing arts center here in Tampa is Strass Center board member David Scher. Thank you so much for joining us today, David.
Thank you for having me.
Now, so I come from a sports side of business, having played for the Buccaneers in this area for many years. But is it true that the Strass Center has had a bigger impact on the Tampa Bay economy than sports?
Well, not being a football player, I'm not going to even hazard a guess, but I can tell you some of the facts and figures. First of all, the Strass has 6 performance locations within its campus. The largest, 2,900 seats, going all the way down to 1,200, then 150, 100, and then our new theater area on the Riverwalk, which we can talk about a little bit later. We generate roughly a population coming through our center of about 700,000 people a year. And that's twice the population of Tampa, yes, believe it or not. The economic impact is about 130 million a year. We employ 500 full-time people. We have hundreds of volunteers. So yeah, it's pretty important.
This year, the world was introduced to COVID, but as we say in the business, the show must go on. How has the Strass Center kind of adapted to, the shutdown that caused by COVID, and what are you guys doing to kind of, figure out this thing?
It's been very tough. This has been a huge economic impact on the Strass. Our business model relies on Broadway shows. Our Broadway shows basically pays for the G&A that the Strass has and allows us to get to the bottom line. So we've had to be very careful to minimize our costs during this time. We've had some layoffs. It's been very tough. The plan to get back is going to be even tougher. It's a 3-phase plan. The first phase is going to be where we are right now with camps. We still have the kids coming to camp. We have our Patel Conservatory, which houses a school for the performing arts, has about 1,000 kids, and we started it because we wanted to know who's going to sit in our theaters in 20 years, and these kids who learn the arts and are passionate about them will be those kids.
Well, as you just mentioned, a big part of the Strass Center is your commitment to art education through the Patel Conservatory. What types of programs are available, and how are students adapting, and how is all of that working now?
Right. Well, up till now, actually up till the beginning of July, we had a lot of virtual stuff going on, and the kids were performing virtually for their teachers. In fact, there's a clip that we can take a look at that shows that. And as well as that, we've restarted camp and socially distancing, which is hard, especially in the performing arts. Yeah.
I've noticed on your website that the Strass Center has put a statement of its commitment to anti-racism. How can you use your platform to kind of really make a change in the climate that we're living in today?
Well, performing arts doesn't know any difference from anybody. We have everybody who you can imagine come and perform. But it's very important that our executives understand what diversity should be. We're going to be spending a lot of time training and retraining. We've already trained. We're looking at setting up a community committee which will be composed of a diverse group of people to do that. We're going to increase diversity on our board. So we are committed to all those things.
Yes. Sometimes when you look at a business, there's a certain way to kind of go about that in terms of bringing in people, educating them on the climate times of today. As a person, what would you say is that one thing that kind of this world needs to pay attention to as individuals so that we can gain that unity that we all so long for?
I think we've got to look to our souls. The soul it needs to be fed. And I think, you know, your question's a great one because it leads right into what I want to say. And the arts are our soul. And if we don't have our arts, we don't have a soul. You know, sports excite us, education excites us, but there's very little arts in education anymore. But when we think about what feeds us, it's the arts. Music, painting, and performance.
David, thank you so much for your time today.
You're so welcome.
When we come back, we'll see how filmmakers are adapting to COVID when we talk to Film Tampa Bay. See you on the flip side.
Check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and to see expanded interviews, subscribe to our YouTube channel at Michael Clayton Live.
The reason I came to Trinity Dental Arts is because my mouth was in horrible shape. It is a long drive here from Kissimmee, but was most impressed with what I saw. Dr. G's credentials, the training that she'd had, every person in this office made me feel very comfortable.
And then by the time they walk out, you have a different person. And to see that over and over again is so fulfilling.
My next guest is no stranger to filmmakers wanting to make locations in Tampa area part of their commercial or movie set, offering knowledgeable, passionate, hands-on service and guidance to people in the production industry is what he does on a daily basis. Let's learn more from Film Tampa Bay with Executive Director Tyler Martin-Olich. Tyler, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
You know, why do you think Tampa has become such an attractive location for filmmakers?
So much of film is dominated by locations, right? What looks great on camera, what's cinematic, what is really driving the story. And when people think of Florida, they often have an idea of Mickey Mouse or Miami Beach or the Everglades. But Florida is so much more than that as far as locations go. When you think of Tampa Bay, if you were to drop a pin in the middle of Tampa and draw a 60-mile radius, we have more diverse locations than any other place within Florida, and all within an easy distance of downtown.
Yes. How is Film Tampa Bay helping filmmakers during this crunch time and pandemic?
Yeah, I mean, no one saw COVID coming, and the reality is it's here, it's going to be with us for a while, and film sets are very close, as you know. You know, it's close quarters, you're working with the same people for long hours a day, and very close proximity. And really what we've tried to do for our job is transition into, I don't want to say a hall monitor, but sort of that type of a role where we are the ones that are looking at all the potential safety issues on set, particularly in public spaces, and trying to help the filmmakers walk through those spaces, get their logistics set up in a way that allows filming to continue, but more importantly, continue safely.
Yeah. How difficult has that been? I mean, I've heard Hollywood is somewhat shut down. Is it even possible at these times for, you know, filmmakers to produce these types of films?
It is, and it's incredibly difficult, but what people are having to do is really recontextualize what their sets actually need and what the parameters of their projects are going to be. You can't have a huge film set. You're not making the Avengers today. That's not going to happen, at least for the foreseeable future. So you're having to look at smaller crews in wider spaces so people can appropriately social distance, and more importantly, building an extra time to wipe down surfaces and have that attention to detail.
Yes. Now we've come a long ways from Blockbuster, and now we have all of these different streaming platforms. Do you feel like, you know, those types of services have, you know, kind of given filmmakers more opportunities to kind of, you know, make films, or is it more like a fish in the ocean? There's two. I see two different sides.
And I think you're right on both guesses. Right now is a great time if you're a filmmaker and you want to get your content out there. There's more platforms than ever before. all of them viable because people want content. I think the problem filmmakers are finding now is that there is such a glut of product on the shelves, so to speak, that people are having trouble finding their particular interest, whatever that might be. So yes, you can get your film out there, but you need to be passionate and find out a clever marketing way to make it break through the noise of everyone else's films.
Yeah. Now we've seen in the past several years, the boom in the film industry in Georgia. I'm from Louisiana. I saw a boom in the industry. When you see Tom Cruise walking in downtown Baton Rouge, it's like, what is going on here? To find out, it was the tax credits. Has Florida, or is Florida looking at, interest in, providing tax credits that may be beneficial to filmmakers at this time?
We've been trying, and by we I mean Film Florida at large, so all the various film commissions and filmmakers to push some sort of tax incentive or a tax rebate or a grant. For the last couple of years, we've been unsuccessful. We were again unsuccessful this last legislative session. However, I think COVID has opened up a door or a possibility that the Florida legislature will be looking at interesting ways to energize our economy over the next fiscal year, and I hope, film is going to be a part of that.
Yeah. When we look at, filmmakers, what do you feel is the type of film that we'll see moving forward through this pandemic? Like you said, we're not making the Avengers. We can't do a lot of things. But there is a type of film that's probably out there that might be more popular to make. What say you? What in your opinion?
I think documentaries are going to be the real winner over the next 6 to 8 months, particularly if you are already in production or you're more towards the end of the production cycle and you're ready to launch. There is going to be a hole as far as new content for the next couple of months in a lot of platforms. And if you were in a position to put forward a very interesting docu-series or unscripted reality series, now's the time to do it. And I think buyers are going to be gobbling those up.
Last message for filmmakers here in Florida. How would you encourage them or inspire them to kind of push forward and to continue to follow that craft?
It's been a dark couple of months, I won't lie. But as the state's fiscal year is coming to an end, we just got a great report in from the governor's office showing that over the last fiscal year, film and television was still one of the highest paid sectors of any industry within the state, and that's still going to be true once COVID is finally, is finally ended. Now is a great time to go into film. You just got to think broader. It's not about putting a movie on the screen. It's about all the various social media and digital media aspects that you can bring to the table.
Yeah. And we're living in a learning climate where we have to learn new things. And it's a perfect time for that. So, Tyler, thank you for your service and what you do. Thank you for keeping our filmmakers safe.
I appreciate it.
After a quick break, Sam the Movie Man is back with a new movie starring Katie Holmes, based on a best-selling book you may know. Stay tuned.
Your quality of life is impacted by pests trying to make your home their home.
At Arrow Environmental Services, we keep your family and pets safe from unwanted pests. To learn more, visit arrowservices.com and schedule your free total home pest evaluation today.
Arrow Environmental Services provides effective pest control that improves your quality of life so you can truly relax and enjoy yourself with friends and family.
In 2006, Rhonda Byrne wrote a self-help book based on the belief of law of attraction. It has sold more than 30 million copies worldwide, and now Sam Hollenbeck will tell us all about this new movie based on The Secret.
You are a very lucky girl.
Miranda Wells, will you marry me?
Not many men would be willing to take on somebody with your baggage. I mean, 3 kids, a mountain of debt.
Nothing like a busybody's golden nuggets of compassion to soil a dandy moment, right?
No matter how bad things are, they can always get worse.
In The Secret, Dare to Dream, Katie Holmes plays a widow who's raising 3 kids and has, as the lady says, a mountain of debt.
Miranda Wells.
Yep, plenty of baggage. And when a mysterious dreamboat played by Josh Lucas tumbles into her life care of a fender bender, well, it's either her ticket to a new beginning or a tumultuous tumble into the depths of despair.
And she runs into you?
Or both.
It's pretty weird.
Is it? Your thoughts.
The Secret, Dare to Dream is directed by Andy Tennant. You know him from Sweet Home Alabama, Hitch, and Ever After.
This is me thinking about pizza.
Don't look at me.
And is based on a 2006 self-help book by Rhonda Byrne.
Yeah, right.
I spoke with Holmes about why she feels this secret is one the world needs to know about during these troubled times.
Oh my God.
We are in incredibly prickly times right now as a country and as a planet, really. And this is a movie that is based around a positive message and hope and all of that good stuff. Do you think that's an environment that is conducive to the success of films like this, that people really, it's a time that people need something positive in their lives?
I do, and I feel like this movie is uplifting, and it lightens the mood, and it also highlights that which people, I feel, are really appreciating even more, which is family.
I can't afford a new roof.
Let me help.
Why are you helping me?
Because I can.
I had originally heard that this was a faith-based film, and when I watched it, I didn't get that sensation that it was a faith-based film. Did I misinterpret something there? To me, it seemed just like a human story more than anything else.
It is a human story. It's about appreciating and enjoying life and seeing the good in that. And I feel like in these times right now in the world where there's so much uncertainty and there's also a lot of clarity, we need to keep each other going. We need to keep reminding each other of hope and keep moving forward. And so I'm really glad that they've decided to release the movie now. It was supposed to be in April. And I feel good about people being able to rent it at home and watch it with their families.
The Secret, Dare to Dream is available for rent on Premium Video on Demand now. For Michael Clayton Live, I'm Sam Hallenbeck.
Thank you, Sam, and thank you for joining us for this artistic episode of Michael Clayton Live. For those of you looking for motivation for success, I give you this. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great. And join us next week when we talk about outdoor summer activities like bikes, boats, and protecting yourself from the summer sun. See you next time.